welcome back.
Hello.
I have my favorite guest back.
It's me, Amie.
Yay, we're back. So as I said in the last episode, we wanted to chat with Amie in 2 episodes. One, a little bit more of the professional side, like what she does, real estate. So you can check that out in the last episode. And today we wanted to keep it more casual, a little rosé in our hands.
Yeah, we do.
And talk about small town life, because we're both from big cities and moved to Central Oregon, Redmond.
Quite the transition.
Very, yes. Ooh, and then I think we mentioned it, and just for you to have a perspective. So Amie used to live in Austin, and that is like almost 1 million, so 974,000 in population. And I used to live in San Francisco, which was 808,000, and then Little Redmond is 36,000.
So tiny.
Yay!
So tiny.
Yes, so that's where we live. And so, yeah, we have a script, but I think that real life happened in my life.
Yeah.
And I talked to Amie about it, and she has feedback, because it's like, you've lived here longer maybe, right? For sure.
Yeah. I mean,
And
yes, 6 years.
Kind of like,
there was definitely like quite a transition in more ways than you would think.
Yeah.
With going from city life to small town living.
And to kind of like just give a brief kind of what happened, because I don't want to give out too much, because it's still a client of mine.
Yeah. No names will be discussed on
no
this.
Names. But I'm implementing projects. What I do is kind of like the EA in the business world. I help companies implement processes, systems, and just kind of like elevate, in any area that they need help with. And so I'm receiving a lot of pushback from a team there is generational difference for sure, older generation, but also, I don't know, they're just pushing back to new things.
Yeah.
And so I guess what got me is that it has come to a point where it's becoming disrespectful, and like, it's just, raising voice and passive aggressive emails. So I'm just like, I'm done. So
yeah.
Yeah.
We were, she was filling me in on all this, and I kind of just related in a way that I didn't even like connect until we started going into this conversation. Yeah. And the transition from city living and working to small town living and working, there was a transition that I didn't expect. And I think that, from my perspective, it looks like you're going through what I went through when I first moved here.
Yeah.
Which is, like in Austin, I had to hustle. Like you have to hustle when you're in a city, because you got a lot of competition that will take your spot in every job field. And then when you move to Redmond, you can still hustle, but no one's going to keep up with you.
Yeah.
So, because it's just such a slower pace of living.
Yeah.
And you'll be on like level 10 and people are still working on level 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think the hardest part for me in terms of work environment when I moved from Austin to Redmond was letting go of the hustle. Mm-hmm. Because you kind of started, I don't even know how to say it. I started feeling super out of place. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I was working at an office, and when I moved to Redmond, I knew 2 people, and that was my brother and my sister-in-law. Yeah. My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law. I didn't know anybody else aside from my family. Yeah. And so the industry that I work in now, real estate, is a very like sphere-driven industry, and you rely on a lot of your sphere for referrals and business and people that you meet and yada yada. And when I moved here, I didn't have that. So thankfully, I still had the hustle in me from Austin. So I would go from business to business, downtown Redmond, introduce myself, tell people who I am, let them know I'm a realtor, kind of just get my foot in the door with lenders and just general businesses. Like I was even going into boutiques just to introduce myself, see if they knew anybody needing to buy or sell a house. I just needed something. Yeah. And I remember my principal broker at the time found out that I was doing that, and he looked at me and he was like, "You don't do that. Like, that's not
how it's done here.
That's not how it works." Yeah. And I was like, "What do you mean that's not how it works?" Yeah. Like, that's how I generated business in Austin, and I generated a lot of business in Austin. Yeah. How do you not do it? And he's like, "The business comes to you. You don't go find it." What? And I was like, "I disagree with you on that." And so that's actually why I left my first brokerage, because I was so like, I had hustle in me. Yeah. And they didn't, and you just know when you need to leave. Yeah. But that was one of the biggest things, is that like you have, when you move to a small town from a big city, you still have big city like living. Yeah. It's like ingrained in you. Like, it's ingrained in you. Yeah. And then when you move here, you're like, it's like almost like culture shock. Like, wait, totally what do you mean you don't do this? You don't do that. You're like, you forget how ahead of time sometimes, or ahead in technology and the work environment big cities are compared to towns like Redmond. Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's just a part of it. I mean, like these meetings, it's like I have, my computer app. Okay, project. So like from a meeting, I'm like, okay, 8 projects. Okay. And I remember our very first meeting, I was like, okay, so what's the timeline on this? And they just laughed. They're like, oh, as soon, like, if you have it done for the next meeting, that's fine, And in my, like, I was so stressed. And, I mean, it's also San Francisco Tech. It's, like, so stressful. It's, like, you have, like, a billion projects, and it's, like, the next day, like, you have 24 hours. Like, it's very, like, and so this was, like, so it's nice. So that's why it's kind of, like, a love and hate, because it's, like, it's such a nice pace. Like, I can just do a little bit every day. I have to put things in a balance. Like, how much can I take of this? Yeah. I'm professional. Yeah, because you're like cranking work out pretty quickly. Yeah. And they're like, let's slow it down a little bit. I'm like, what do you mean we need a timeline? Please review, give me feedback. I'm like, hello? They're like, whoa, you finished that already? Dang, okay, I need a week to process the fact that you finished, and then a few days to actually read what you finished. Yeah. And then we'll get back to you. So, yeah, that's where I am. So I'm just like it's just brought up so much, like, in me, because, like I told you, like, to me it's a challenge. Like, how did I work with such, like, successful leaders and, like, can't figure out this, Like, there's, like, the way how they communicate, like it's like super a complex situation. And so how do I it's like I kind of have always associated this moment, and this is like the soccer player coming out in me. Yes. But it's like watching an elite team play. Sometimes you have an elite team that will play like the team at the bottom of the bracket. Yeah. And in theory, and on a sheet of paper, that elite team should just smoke that lower team in general. Like, they're just they should technically, like, blow them out. Yeah. But there is something about going up against someone who should be your quote-unquote easiest competitor that is just, like, it stumps people. Yeah. Sometimes. Like, there are so many times in the sports world where teams go against, like, I mean, it happens all the time in March Madness, the NCAA March Madness. You'll see number 1 seeds, number 2 seeds, number 3 seeds going up against, like, number 16 seeds, and number 16, 15, or 14 seeds are just, like, they're making them work. They're making them work hard, and sometimes they're even winning. Yeah. So it's I always equate it to that. Like, you are up here and your work level is up here, and it's almost like you're having to pull yourself back and restrain everything that you have known to do to survive.
Yeah.
Because it's almost overwhelming for the people that you're working for in a small town.
Yeah.
Because they're not used to, they're not used to where the level that you're at.
Yeah.
But you're like having to reformat your entire workflow to accommodate theirs.
Yes.
And that's what is hard.
Yeah. It is like speaking another language. Like we are not understanding each other. Like it really is.
Yeah.
It's like a language barrier, but we're both speak English. It's so weird because on their end, not the whole company, but some people are like super frustrated, like borderline, like emotional. And so they're frustrated too. And I'm frustrated too. So like it's
hard. Yeah. It's a hard, that's a hard balance. The work life from the work environment change from going from a big city to a small town is I feel like something that a lot of people don't ever, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's absolutely a conversation that should be had.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard.
Yeah.
Harder than people would think.
Yeah. So hard. Because I work remotely, right? So the other clients are like LA, Sacramento, right? So no issues there. So I don't know why I just picked this local company because, one, I needed to, income, but also I was like, oh, cute, like a local company.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to connect with the community, but like, oh my God, at what price? I'm just like, have a giant, like, knot in my stomach.
Yeah.
Just like thinking about it. Like, I don't know, should I just cop out? Just like quit? But I don't want to be a quitter, so I'm just like,
I get it. You have to, quitting or removing yourself from a toxic scenario are two different things, right? Like, quitting is like, getting halfway through something and just being like, I'm done.
Yeah.
When you're in a toxic work environment and it's affecting your mental health, that's when it's time to like reassess, like, all right, how do I handle this? I literally just went through this recently within the last few months. I was working somewhere locally. Yeah. And I have a very like eccentric personality, I guess. Like I am loud, I am silly, I love to have a good time anywhere I can. If I can bring the fun or have the fun, I'm going to do all of that. And that's what I would do in this work environment. And there was one employee that would report me to the owner consistently because I wasn't professional enough. Oh my gosh. And so, and when I say professional enough, I mean like working out. I'm working out. I'm helping people work out. That's the environment. So of course I don't have to be business professional in like a fitness setting. No. But people do like that. Oh my I'm not that personality and I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Yeah. But there was a good chunk of time for the better part of a year where I was like, I'm not going to let this person win. Yeah. Like, I'm going to fucking beat this person at their own game. Yeah. And then finally the ball dropped and I just reached this point of like, I can't do this anymore because I would tell myself, don't quit, Amie. Don't be a quitter. Yeah. Just don't quit. Yeah. But I was getting to the point where every time I would go to like coach a class, I would have so much anxiety about it that I would lose sleep over it. I was losing sleep. I was like, I wasn't like enjoying it anymore because I was stressing over, how the class was going to go. And I finally just said, you know what, like I'm not quitting. Yeah. I am letting go of toxicity, like a ridiculous toxic environment for me. Like, and so I think those are two very different things. So I would argue that you're not quitting if you decide to leave. You're just letting go of something that's not healthy for you.
Yeah, totally.
If it's, a consistent issue.
And I just saw, I don't even know if he listens, but Travis J. Wilson, it is a friend. He posted something, your vibe will attract your tribe.
Fuck yes.
Yes, and it's so true because he is, like, I'm going to show you later, he is all about that. Like,
oh my God, look at you and I. Guys, I made a YouTube video for real estate, and Natalia called me about buying a house in Redmond, and she was my first client, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
And look at us now. Look at us. Look at us. We're podcasting.
We're touching hands.
We're podcasting together.
Yeah. It was just so true. And I think you said something similar last episode.
Yeah, probably. Because it's so true.
It is true. And so I have to just stay true to that. And I forget. I just, like, in my stress, I'm like, I need to, like, don't forget, like, who you are, and that everything's going to be fine. Like, you're going to attract the right people.
You absolutely will.
And it's so funny. Like, today I had a call with my other client, and she actually asked me, she's like, how are you? Like, tell me more. We haven't talked in, like, 2 weeks. She's like, tell me, like, how's work? Like, how's your other clients? And I'm like, oh, that's very sweet of you. I actually, and I just told her, like, I'm not going to obviously tell her this, but I said, well, actually, like, my projects end right now, end of July, so if you want to refer me to, she's like, oh my God, I didn't even know. Do you want more clients? Like, sure, like,
Hell
like,
yeah.
So
hell
nice.
yeah.
So I'm like, okay.
Your people will have your back.
Yeah. So
your
like,
people
okay.
will have your back.
So, I don't know. I'm also that, like, I need to be safe. So in order for me to, like, get out of this toxic environment, I kind of, like, have to have another client. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to feel safe until I can, like,
You'll get it.
Yeah,
You'll get it. It always works out. It's one of those things that I have to remind myself this constantly, because I have so many parts of my life right now that are going in so many different directions. Yeah. And it's very stressful when you can't, I can't control my outcomes. Like, I have been one of those people where I try so hard to be one of those planners. Yeah. And, like, I want to put my foot down and plan my life out and do things in my life that I want. Yeah. And for whatever reason, I'm just not that person. Like, those things don't happen to me. Yeah. I'm the person that has to pivot quite frequently. Yeah. I don't mind it. Yeah. It gets frustrating sometimes when I don't get the outcome that I want. Yeah. But I always have to remind myself, like, it always works out. Yeah. Absolutely always works out.
You say something really powerful. I mean, because you still see it as a pivot and not like, oh, it's a dead end. It's done. You, like, pivot. You do something else.
You pivot. Yeah. Yeah. Because you're not stopping. No.
Yeah. But some people do.
That's some people do. Yeah. Absolutely.
They're like, oh no, okay, my dream got killed, but then it's like, no, pivot.
Yeah, no, you're just changing the direction that you're going. Yeah. Yeah. You're still moving forward. Yeah. You're just moving in a different direction. Yeah. So it's not like, it's not anything bad. You pivot.
Yeah, I knew, like, walking into this, because I was, I'm just like, I've been so upset, and I'm like, I need some Amie time. I know she's going to get my energy up.
You might have to remove that laugh from the thing, because that was pretty loud.
No!
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I already feel better, and I just take things too personal sometimes.
It's hard not to do that, especially when it's, like, your work being critiqued. Yeah. But, you just have to roll with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm absolutely a believer that, I find that the older I get, the harder it is for me to take on criticism. But I'll always take on criticism because I just want to get better. Yes. That's my goal. Like, whatever I'm doing, I just want to get better. Yeah. I will be playing pickleball. There was a day where I was playing pickleball with one of my friends, and this old man was my partner, and sounds so old. And he just kept coaching me. And you get to these moments sometimes where you're tired of hearing the feedback.
Yeah.
And my friend was staring at me from the opposite side of the court, and I'm pretty sure she could read my facial expressions, and she could tell I was done with listening to this guy tell me how to play.
Yeah.
And you just, you take these moments where you're getting like the chirping feedback, and yes, some days you're just going to be like, fuck this, fuck you. I don't feel like listening to you anymore. I need a goddamn break. And that was the moment that I was in pickleball that day. I was like, I don't fucking feel like taking on more coaching. I just got my ass handed to me by one of my best friends because she fucking destroys me on the court every goddamn time. She knows who she is if she's listening to this. Annoying as... it's so annoying how often she wins. But she'll always like give me tips, and that's great, and I love it because I just want to get better.
Yeah.
But when you like have somebody that's just constantly like nagging on you and trying to give you tips that way, and like you always reach a point where you're like, I can't do this. I stop. Like,
so
stop.
Did you tell him?
Oh, I told him like I'm done.
Okay.
Like I don't need any feet. I just straight up looked at him and I was like, I don't need to play. I'm going to play how I want to play right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he stopped.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like both of us were like, we're over this right now.
Yeah.
Like he wanted me to play a certain way. I did not want to play his way.
I don't want to get that. Like I mean, I have no problem getting old, but like I don't want to to be that person.
Yeah.
Like my grandma was so amazing. She could FaceTime me. She sent emojis. And I love that, like, because she, instead of like, no, I can't, I don't understand it. She asked all of her, like, grandchildren, like, show me, I want to be that.
For me, it gets hard to like the older I get, the more I feel my dad coming out in me, which is not a good trait at all.
Isn't that a thing? Like your parents, like you end up saying things.
God, yes, it's like, totally a thing.
Like, oh my God, and especially now that I have a kid, I say things. I'm like, oh my God,
yes,
I'm my mom.
Yes, I have moments in time where my dad will come out in me, and I'll look at my husband, and I'm like, oh my God. That was my dad. And he'll look at me and he's like, yes, that was. And then I'm like, I need to go have some me time because I need to reassess everything that just happened.
Recalibrate.
Yeah. So it's hard to like not let the parents come out in us.
Oh gosh. I mean, we went off script, which is obviously fine because
I feel like we do that a lot.
It's more genuine. It's like it's raw. It's
totally
it's a real deal. But I guess since we have talked about a little bit of the negative part of the small town, why don't we end it on a positive note?
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, there's plenty of things. Let me just
lots
think about
of positives. So for me, the biggest positive about living in small town is having. I just love how much safer I feel with kids. When we were in Austin, and this is such a triggering moment for some, but I had one friend who was followed in a store by two men while she had her two kids. They followed her all the way around the store, followed her to checkout. She just happened to run into her husband's friend at checkout.
Yeah.
He walked her to their car, and these guys followed her to their car and then walked away. And then you read about like attempted kidnappings at grocery stores. And I once I became a mom, my freaking brain went from super chill mode to high anxiety.
Yeah.
And that's all I could think about is like, one, I had somebody that experienced that in my life. And then two,
kidnapping.
These guys were coming after her kids or her.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take both kids to the grocery store. I would never take both kids to the grocery store. I would either leave one with Alan and take one, or I would leave both at home with Alan and I would go to the grocery store. But it's just for me, having kids in Austin, I loved the city life and I loved all of that for them, but I just had so much anxiety with the safety, with everything that comes into like the schools and the cost of living once you have a child in a big city just goes through the roof.
Yeah.
And
daycare.
daycare is so expensive. And so when we're home in Redmond, I don't stress out about that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
It's such a nice break from that anxiety.
Yeah.
And so that's probably one of my favorite things about living in Redmond.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Just the other day, like for softball, we so Amie is in a softball team. Is it softball or baseball?
Slow pitch softball.
Okay.
Yeah. It's slow pitch. I'm old, okay?
You're in a team with Max. And so, so he goes, because he's obsessed. He needs to be there an hour earlier.
I love Max on our softball team.
Prep moment. So he leaves in the other cars, and then Mia and I join later. And so we left, and then I came back early because I put Mia down. And I realized that I had left the front door open. Not open, but not
unlocked.
Locked. Yeah, unlocked. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was fine, it's totally fine.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah. All the time.
That would never happen.
No, we did it. My parents would do it. I remember my parents having moments like, oh, the front door's unlocked in the morning. And it was just part of it. And then when thinking about in Austin, all the places that I live, it was if I would have left the front door unlocked, no.
Everything gone.
God, no. Not even a chance.
Yeah.
You don't even go to... I probably wouldn't have been able to sleep at night if I left the front door unlocked. Yeah. And it's not like Austin was an unsafe city.
Yeah.
But there's just so many people, and you don't know when something's going to happen,
Yeah.
In Redmond, people like to talk. People love to talk. So you're always in the know. Wait,
well, did I tell you that a police officer came knocking on our door?
No.
Okay, so this is what because I feel it's so safe. I can leave the door open, but also the neighbors got your back. These are neighbors that we talk about. We say hi. It's not like we've had them over for dinner, but say hi to neighbors. But it was actually Max came home from baseball. This was when it was darker, it was not summer, maybe end of summer, and it was dark outside, and he came back with his little cooler with his beers, But
I love it.
He got dropped off, I think, or he walked from the Duncans.
Oh.
So he walked home, so he didn't have his car. So he walked home, so then they must have seen him, and then he was trying to open the front door. And and so he went in, obviously, and then so they called the cops.
Oh my God.
So me and Max, we were he was in, and then we were watching TV, and all of a sudden we hear a loud knock, dun, dun, dun. And I'm and the door is right by the couch.
Yeah, and it's dark outside.
Yeah. And so we opened the door, and I was so scared. And I was like, huh. And, this really big, buff police. I'm like, hey!
No. You want to come in?
I was actually scared. I was I'm just I'm a little bit scared of anyways, that's another story. But so I was okay, I'm hello. And Max, he just gets defensive, he's what is it? His attitude. And they're we need to see your ID. And Max is why? It's my home. He was getting all talking back to the police. I was Max, just get your freaking ID. We live here. And he's oh. And he's yeah, we're just checking because the neighbors called and there's been burglaries. I'm really? Where?
What?
Where? But that was cool. I was Max got all mad, and I'm well, see it as a positive. Our neighbors called the cop.
They got your back. Yeah.
It could have actually been someone.
It's always hard not to get defensive when a cop is quizzing you on things that seem very obvious, but at the same time you're just it's I have to admit today actually we made friends with our next door neighbor's kid. Well, I've known the next door neighbor for a little while, but our sons have never really played together because they're just always in two different places at two different times. And today we made friends with our next door neighbor's son, and he just makes himself at home, walks in through the garage like he owns the place on day one. And I'm dude, Colton, what's up? And he's oh, my mom said I could hang out for a little bit longer. I'm oh, okay. They have 5 minutes. You can hang out for 5 minutes. So 5 minutes turned into 30 minutes. Oh, but they just people that just make themselves at home here, and it's kind of nice.
Oh, that is so
but it's
funny.
Still yeah. I would be very hesitant. Like thinking about the places that I lived in Austin, I'd be super hesitant if like one of my next door neighbors was like walking through my door randomly, like, "Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I just met you." Hey.
That was scary. Oh yeah. Yeah. So safety for sure. Like I feel it.
Yeah.
I love that distances, or even like Bend is obviously like a little bit of bigger city, but even after, like if we go to Bend on a weekend and come home, I'm like, nice to be home, like just distances and it's just smaller here, more compact, and like
I don't know if you've gotten to this point yet, so you'll have to tell me if you have.
Okay.
But I have gotten to this point, like in Austin, my commute one way was 45 minutes to an hour, one way.
Yeah.
I have gotten to this point now where I'm like, oh my God, it's going to take me 9 minutes to get there. Jesus, there's 6 people at the stoplight. What is going on? Or like the thought of driving all the way to Bend, which is like a 20-minute drive, is just like the worst thing to do.
Yeah.
And I laugh at myself sometimes because now I can't even handle the commute of like 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah. Whereas in Austin, it was like double that. Right. I'm like, oh man, I'm getting spoiled.
Yeah,
now.
I think I can totally do Bend on the weekends, like no problem. But yeah, I would never drive there on a weekday. Like there's no point. Like for what? For grocery shopping? No, I'll just do it here. Or
because you're bored. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would never drive to Bend. But yeah, I love the distances. Like 7 minutes in a car to drop off Mia at daycare. And it's so close that we bike sometimes.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's just like, I love that.
I remember right after you guys had first moved here, I think you'd been here for, I don't even know if it was a full 6 months yet. Some friends of ours went down to General Duffy's and they were having comedy night.
Yes.
And my friend and I walked in and grabbed a drink at the bar and we were walking back outside and Max was right there.
Yeah.
I was like, Max, what are you doing here? And he's like, I just rode my bike down from the house. Yeah. And wanted to see comedy night. And I was dying. I was like, oh God. But I think that was also the night that he got a flat tire going back.
Yeah, maybe.
But it was funny because I was like, this is it. This is small town life. You rode your bike from your house. Yeah. In
Max
Southwest.
says that a lot too. Like when we go, because there's like the other cool part is like you have to look up like happenings or events. Because like it's such a small city that you're like you have to like look for it. It's not like just happening, around the corner. Like in big cities, you can walk in the street. I'm like, wow, there's like something happening. Yeah. But here it's like I have to look it up, and I love that because it makes me also like, oh okay, so like put it in the calendar and like get excited for it. But so every time we go to like any event, he's like, don't you like recognize a lot of people? I'm like, I don't. I'm not like I don't look at people like that. But Max is like, oh, I've definitely seen her, like, and so, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I can hear Max saying that right now, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I recognize that person.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me laugh. Yeah, the drive time and the commute time and just getting the walkability and the accessibility of everything here is nice.
Yeah.
Super
and it's cute.
Nice.
It's cute. Like this little Redmond, like, quote-unquote downtown area. What do they call it? City center?
It's downtown.
Downtown.
I've called it the city center sometimes, and some people are like, the fuck? I'm like, sorry, downtown Redmond. 6th Street. Redmond 6th Street.
Yeah, and what is it, like 4 blocks?
If even. What would you call it? It's small. It's like, what are we on? We're on like block 1 right now.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, it's probably 4 just 4 blocks.
And it has a little Redmond sign. It's just like, it's cute. It's like, I would, did you ever watch Gilmore Girls?
No.
Okay, for any Gilmore Girls
I have
fans.
a lot of those shows I need to catch up on.
Yeah.
I need to watch in general. I want to watch Gossip Girl really bad. I've never seen Gossip Girl.
Yeah. I'm not the one to like rewatch though. Like I know people like rewatch like a whole thing.
I'm not a rewatcher either.
I can't do it.
I will say I rewatched Schitt's Creek like crazy because that was one of the best shows ever. Yeah. Ted Lasso, I rewatched that.
Yeah. I can't rewatch.
But I'm even like that with concerts.
Oh.
Like,
yeah, I can put on a concert
if I go to a concert, like Michael Franti. I love Michael Franti. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. But he's like a local legend. And look him up. His music is amazing. Okay. I have become a huge fan of him. We could go out with him. Love his music. But I went to one show and I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
You know, but all of my friends want to go back to his other show. They go every summer, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need something different.
Yeah.
I need something new. I'm like that too. I have to, like, once I experience it, I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm ready for a new experience.
Yeah.
And then also I kind of feel like if I'm gonna watch a concert when they're young and like in their prime, and then I'm gonna watch it again like 15 years later, it's probably gonna be significantly different, and my expectations are probably gonna be too high.
It's like Britney. I was a big Britney fan when I was younger, and then I saw her in San Diego when I moved to San Diego. But it was like at the end of her, you know, like
Her career.
I was like, is she dancing? Like, like what is she doing right now? I mean, you know, respect, you know, but I was like, oh, I like missed her prime time.
That's what it's hard. That's what gets really hard.
Yeah.
Oh. So.
All right. Well, I don't know if this is even fun, but I have some rapid fire questions.
Let's hear it.
Just a little fun.
Fire away.
At the end, let's, wrap up. All right. Small town or city life?
Like pick one?
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Oh, God.
Fast. That would be like
city life.
Okay, city life. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
NSYNC.
Best small town nickname you've heard? Does Redmond even have a nickname?
Flag City.
Oh, yeah, but that's like the...
Flag City, USA.
Okay.
Spud Bowl is the nickname here for the park right down here in the soccer field. It's called Spud Bowl.
Why?
Yeah, because the guy that... I don't know if he was the founder of Redmond, but he was one of like the big guys when Redmond was growing and hopping and stuff. And his last name was Spud.
Spud.
So they call it SPUD. So they call it Spud Bowl.
Oh, okay. Now I learned something new. Lake or beach?
Beach.
Classic country music or local indie band?
Ooh. See, now I'm from small town Texas, so part of me wants to say like classic country.
Yeah.
I like classic country, like old school 90s country gold.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm into that.
I did not grow up with country at all. Like, I've only heard country here. I mean, there's a very similar genre in Spanish called rancheras, which is also kind of like country style, but like, I love country. Like, American country music, it's really good.
Really good.
I love it.
Yeah, I could totally do classic country.
Or this one, country music or gangster rap?
Ooh, I'm probably going to go with some Kendrick Lamar if I have an option.
Yes! I remember when I went to one of your classes.
I fucking love working out to Kendrick Lamar.
And you would have like rap on. I'm like,
yeah. Me and Kendrick are like, he doesn't know it yet, but we're tight.
Yeah, they're friends. Cocktails or wine?
Cocktails.
Yeah. Okay, that was it.
Although we are drinking wine right now.
Drinking wine, yeah. So. You want to switch it up, probably.
I do like myself a good cocktail, though.
Yeah.
But I'm just in a rosé mood these days.
And it was so, I mean, because it's hot out and it's like nice. It was really nice. Well, I don't know.
I like these rapid fire questions.
Yes, right? I was like, I want to end with something fun. Cool. I mean, it's been so lovely to have you.
I have loved doing this. I love doing this. If anybody wants me to come back, you tell Natalia. Have Amie back, because I am here. I told Max the other day, I want to be on every episode.
Yes.
This is fun. This is
Honestly,
super fun.
I mean, I can't wait to see it. Because, again, like, I call Amie, like, the mayor of Redmond.
No.
I feel like there's going to be so many listeners. New listeners, hello.
I'm not the mayor.
So that's going to be fun. So we have to have you back.
I am down to be back. I feel like I double your talking time, though. We just start going.
Oh, this is good. No, but we have that in mind, like from the first time. Like, oh my god, I had to edit that, chop it down.
I know, you told me you got it down to 30 minutes. Yeah. I was like, damn.
Yeah, and now we're at 40. So
okay,
all right,
that's a good time. We did good today.
Yeah, we did good. So we're gonna go out with that song, or do you have a different song?
I mean, I had a Dirty Head song, but
whatever you wanna,
like Michael Franti. If we need to introduce some people to Michael Franti, let's introduce them to Michael Franti.
And to me, including me.
Here we go.
All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Doodles.